The morning dawned with the sound of droplets hitting the wooden porch. The wall clock read 7:20, but the mansion already seemed awake, alive in its creaks, groans, and echoes of memories. Vivian looked out the bedroom window, her silk robe slipping from her shoulders, her coffee already cold in the cup. The foggy glass revealed only the outline of the wet oak trees, and something within her seemed to recognize itself in that haze, beautiful on the outside, silently lost within. Her husband slept in the next room, as always. Separated by walls and decades of distance, they shared the same house, but no longer a life. Vivian, 40 years old, her impeccable face shaped by expensive creams and restrained smiles, felt like an old painting hung in a cold room. Everything about her was composed, her carefully tied blonde hair, her French perfume, the pearls she wore even when alone. But there was something in her eyes that betrayed weariness, an unspoken desire for something that would make her feel alive again. It was in this silence that the sound of an engine approached on the gravel road. Vivian leaned forward to see better. The rain was slowly ceasing, and through the glass, an old, rust-colored pickup truck parked near the garden gates. A young woman with her face partially covered by a hood got out. She carried tools, and when the wind lifted her hood, Vivian could see her dark brown hair, tied back in an unpretentious manner, a few strands stuck to her skin by the rain. Lily. The gardener the agency had recommended. 26 years old, born in Vermont, specialized in historical landscaping. The young woman crossed the gate with firm steps, muddy boots, and a curious gaze, as if she was already enchanted by the mansion before being formally introduced. Vivian watched from afar, but when Lily lifted her face and their eyes met for a brief second, something shifted, a kind of nameless recognition. Hours later, when the rain had turned into a breeze, Vivian went down to the garden. The old rose bushes were covered in weeds, the shrubs poorly pruned, and the damp scent of earth seemed to mix with an air of promise. Lily was kneeling near the artificial pond, her hands dirty with mud and a serene expression on her face. Vivian approached hesitantly, her heels sinking into the grass. "You must be Mrs. Hawthorne," said Lily, without looking up. Her voice was calm, almost musical. "The garden is even more beautiful than I imagined." "It was," replied Vivian, crossing her arms as if trying to maintain control. "No one has touched it for years." Lily looked up and smiled. There was sincerity in that gesture, not courtesy. "Then I suppose we'll start from scratch. Sometimes, the earth just needs a little air to breathe again." Vivian remained silent. The phrase echoed, as if it had another meaning. She watched the way Lily touched the soil, with an almost reverent delicacy, and thought it had been too long since anyone had looked at something, or someone, with such care. The afternoon sun began to filter through the clouds, and the air took on the smell of wet flowers. Vivian continued to observe the young woman's work. Lily moved with natural ease, her strong arms visible under her cotton t-shirt, her skin golden from the rain and her efforts. There was something untamable about her, yet tender at the same time, a presence that contrasted with Vivian's controlled and polished world. "May I show you the rest of the grounds?" asked Vivian, and her own voice sounded different, almost tremulous. Lily nodded, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Of course. But only if you promise to tell me the stories these flowers hide." Vivian smiled slightly, unsure if it was an invitation or a challenge. They walked side by side along the rose bush path, and the sound of wet leaves under their feet marked the rhythm of a conversation that seemed to dance between pauses and glances. Vivian spoke little, but Lily listened as if deciphering silences. "Does Mr. Hawthorne like gardens?" Lily asked at one point. Vivian took a moment to respond. "He likes results. Not processes." "Ah," murmured Lily. "So he doesn't understand what it means to cultivate something." Vivian stopped. There was too much truth in that phrase. The wind blew, carrying the scent of jasmine from the neighboring field. Lily bent down to remove a dry branch, and when she looked up, she noticed Vivian watching her closely. For a second, their eyes remained locked, the kind of moment where the world seemed suspended. "What is it?" asked Lily, with a half-smile. Vivian looked away, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. "Nothing. It's just, you remind me of someone I met a long time ago." "Someone important?" Vivian hesitated. "Perhaps someone I wish I had known better." Lily fell silent, returning to dig in the soil. A bird landed on the stone wall and sang, as if breaking the weight of the pause. Vivian took a deep breath. The breeze stirred Lily's hair, and for a moment, she felt the desire to touch it, just to see if it was as soft as it looked. But she did not. She just stood there, motionless, between desire and fear. As the sun began to set, Lily put away her tools and looked toward the mansion. "I'll bring the new seedlings tomorrow. I can start with the magnolia garden. They bloom only once a year," said Vivian, in a tone that sounded more melancholic than she intended. "Then it's best to enjoy it when it happens," replied Lily, smiling. The phrase hung in the air, so simple and so profound, that Vivian felt the urge to respond, but the words did not come. She merely nodded, watching Lily walk toward the pickup truck, the golden evening light drawing soft contours around her silhouette. Vivian stood in the same spot, her heart beating at a rhythm she no longer recognized. Lily's hands, still dirty with soil, had left small traces on the stone railing, like an involuntary signature, a living memory. That night, lying in a bed too large for one person, Vivian looked out the window again. The rain was returning, light, almost whispered. And outside, under the veil of darkness, the garden seemed to breathe again. She smiled, not knowing why. But deep down, perhaps she already knew. The second day began with the snap of the kitchen door and the smell of freshly brewed coffee filling the halls. Vivian entered barefoot, the wooden floor still cold against her skin, and found Lily washing her hands at the old porcelain sink. The morning light, filtered through the lace curtain, outlined dust particles in the air like suspended snow. Lily smiled, a simple and whole smile, and pointed to the coffee maker. "I made it the way they taught me in Vermont," she said, strong enough to wake a big house. Vivian laughed, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. There was an almost impossible naturalness there, the gardener in a canvas apron, water splashes on her forearm, the lady of the mansion with her cardigan sleeves rolled up, two women from distant worlds who suddenly seemed to share the same breath. "So you understand gardens and coffee?" she teased, picking up 2 mugs. "I understand things that require patience," Lily replied, drying her hands on a floral towel. "Soil, hot water, people. If you rush, you ruin it." They drank their coffee leaning against the marble counter, unhurried. Outside, the garden was still a mosaic of promises. Vivian recounted, with restrained humor, the first time she had tried to care for a plant alone, an orchid that, according to her, had died from excessive affection. "I watered it every day." The guilt sounded innocently sweet. "Ah, that's the most beautiful way to kill an orchid," Lily said, and the two laughed, complicit. The sound of laughter traveled through the shelves of old china and lingered like a bird refusing to leave. That same day, they decided to start with the old wisteria pergola, crooked from so much time and wind. Vivian held the slats, Lily hammered with precision. At the slightest carelessness, their fingers brushed, Vivian's skin, soft and cool, Lily's, warm and rough from work. The accidental touch remained for a second longer than necessary, in a place where there was no need to linger. "Sorry," Lily would say, simply, and Vivian would respond with an, "It's okay," that sounded closer to a, "continue." The obstacle came quickly and concretely. Late in the morning, Vivian's phone vibrated insistently. An invitation to a charity event in Boston, the kind that required attendance, long dress, discreet jewelry, practiced smile. Her husband had confirmed their attendance and would send the driver at 6. Vivian took a deep breath, as if the air had changed weight. Lily noticed the shadow on her face. Engagements? She asked, resting the hammer on her thigh. A dinner. Important, they say. Her tone carried a soft weariness, like worn fabric. I'll go, of course. Of course, repeated Lily, and within that word lay the entire distance between the rusty pickup truck and the limousine, between soil on fingers and silk gloves. The afternoon continued with a sweet wind, the smell of freshly cut grass, and the metallic sound of tools being put away in the box. Vivian brought mint lemonade in tall glasses. Lily added ice with her fingertips and asked with a curiosity that seemed pure, "Have you always lived in mansions?" No, Vivian smiled over the rim of her glass, the condensation wet between her fingers. I grew up in a house with a porch and a dog that ran away every day. My mother sang loudly while cooking. She paused. Sometimes, I still wait for the sound of the pressure cooker. The wind makes a similar whistle when it passes through the trees. Lily pointed toward the woods. If you close your eyes, you might confuse them. Vivian obeyed. She closed her eyes, and the wind rustled through the leaves, blowing a sound that really reminded her of home. When she opened them, she found Lily's face close, watching her with a respect that was not servile, but human. "Thank you," she said, not knowing if she was thanking the wind, the memory, or the presence. Their work took them to the old greenhouse, with its foggy glass and lacy iron frames. Inside, the air was warmer, humid, laden with a scent of leaves and soil that clung to the skin like an old embrace. Lily opened the upper windows, and a shower of pollen danced in the light. Vivian reached for a high shelf. Lily, instinctively, held her waist to steady her. The touch was light and respectful, but the entire world seemed to fit into that gesture. Time slowed, almost stopped, and only the distant ticking of the hallway clock reminded them that a later existed. "Are you steady?" Lily asked, her voice low, as if afraid to startle a secret. "I am," said Vivian, and it was not just about the shelf. At midday, they shared a sandwich on the stone steps, their knees almost touching. Vivian removed her rings to avoid staining them with mustard and noticed how much freer her fingers felt without the weight of gold. Lily shared that she learned to prune rose bushes from her grandmother, a woman who said plants understand loss. "Cut away what doesn't sustain, and you'll see what can bloom again," she quoted, drawing a smile from Vivian, who mentally repeated the phrase like someone trying on a new dress. "You always speak like someone planting sentences," Vivian commented, looking at the young woman's profile, the sun drawing patterns on her nose. "And you listen like someone watering them," Lily replied, a glint in her eyes. "That's rare." The proximity took on an easy humor. In front of the fountain, Vivian tried to help with the hose and accidentally sprayed her own linen pants, a stream of water leaving a dark pattern on the fabric. "Great," she said with false indignation. "Now I look like a clumsy apprentice." "Welcome to the club," Lily laughed, taking the edge of the hose to control the flow. "The difference is, you look elegant even when wet." Vivian let out a, "Don't say that," that meant, "Say it again." They both laughed, and this time, the laughter brought with it a comfortable quiet, the kind that allows bodies to draw near without warning. As Lily coiled the hose, her fingers touched Vivian's hand in a fold of coincidence that neither tried to quickly correct. The touch remained, then retreated a millimeter, like someone learning the dance of a boundary. In the middle of the afternoon, the driver called to confirm the time. Vivian's voice hardened on the phone, as if donning a costume from within. "I'll be ready at 6, she said. After hanging up, it took her a moment to return to the garden, as if the city's red carpet wanted to pull her back by the ankles. Lily observed without intruding. "Do you enjoy these events?" she asked, picking up her gloves. "I enjoy the silence after them," Vivian confessed. "That's when I remember who I really am." Lily picked up a magnolia leaf from the ground and handed it to her. "Then keep this in your pocket and touch it when you forget. The leaf is your ticket back." Vivian slipped the leaf into her cardigan pocket, feeling its firm texture, the edge lightly scratching her fingertips. It was a kind of talisman, a word without letters. "I'll take it," she said, and the "take" seemed larger than an object. Later, as they hung glass lanterns along the path to the lake, the sun began to set in a hurry to be beautiful. The golden light touched Lily's hair, making each strand seem like a new addiction. Vivian stepped onto a stone step to reach a branch. Lily stood behind to hold her hand if necessary, which, suddenly, it always was. A breeze stirred Vivian's dress, and she turned to say something, but it was just air. Lily's face was too close, her words dissolving into an unformed syllable. "Careful," Lily whispered, and the words slid over Vivian's skin like soft fabric. Care turned into presence. Time, in that instant, chose to move in the shortest steps. The lanterns rattled with a light glass sound. The distance between one mouth and the other was a map so simple it was frightening. Vivian smelled the mint on Lily's breath, the same from the lemonade earlier in the day. Lily smelled the jasmine perfume Vivian wore, now mixed with the scent of leaves and wood. The almost happened, lingered, breathed. A distant lightning bolt, still silent, streaked the horizon. Vivian stepped down from the step first, undoing the invisible line. They both laughed at their own caution, at the almost they hadn't dared. "I think the lanterns are crooked," Lily commented, not looking directly into her eyes. "I like things that aren't perfect," replied Vivian, her voice still too soft for routine. "They seem more true." As they prepared to put away the tools, Vivian's husband appeared on the porch, already in his suit, his hand resting on the railing. "Vivian, the car will leave in 20 minutes, he announced, without asking, like someone reading the weather forecast. The sound of his voice carried the weight of the world Vivian belonged to, the one that did not know the language of the wind. "I'll be ready," she said, and noticed her fingers touching the magnolia leaf in her pocket, like someone searching for a switch. Her husband looked at Lily for a second, just long enough to assess, not to see. "Thank you for your work," he said, politely, and turned away. Lily nodded, neutral. After he went inside, the two were left in a guiltless silence, as if the world had rushed past and left them on the shore once more. "Will you be out late?" Lily asked, coiling the hose for the third time, just to have something in her hands. "Usually, yes," Vivian replied. "Speech, photos, toast, conversation that says nothing." She gave a wry smile. "But there's good music. And lights. People look beautiful under certain lights." "And you?" Lily measured the question carefully. "Under which lights do you look more beautiful?" Vivian took her time. "Under those that ask nothing in return." The sky darkened completely, and the first thunder arrived softly, like a promise of rain. The breeze brought a chill. Lily took off her flannel jacket and held it out to Vivian. "Here." Vivian, out of polite reflex, hesitated. Lily insisted with a simple gesture. "You can return it tomorrow." Vivian put it on. The fabric held the scent of cheap soap and sun, a scent so intimate it seemed to tell stories of roads and radio music. The jacket was loose on her shoulders, and for a moment, Vivian felt as if she fit into a life she had not yet known. Lily, for her part, crossed her arms to warm her own chest but did not complain about the wind. "Tomorrow I'll start transplanting the magnolia seedlings," Lily said, as if stating something both mundane and sacred. "If you want to see, come early. The morning helps the roots understand they've moved homes." Vivian nodded, holding the jacket close to her body. "I want to see." She paused, felt her phone vibrate in her purse, ignored it. "After the event, I'll be back late." "But..." The "but" hung between them, asking for the rest of the sentence. "But I'll leave the library window slightly open. So the garden can breathe." Lily smiled with her eyes, that smile that says, "I understand," without needing invented words. She took a step closer, enough for their hands to meet around a pair of pruning shears they were both holding. The touch was so light it felt like a memory. Vivian looked up. Lily held her gaze for a second too long to be casual. "Tomorrow," Lily said, like someone making an appointment with time, not with the clock. After the event, Vivian completed, accepting the marking. The rain began in a whisper. Lily collected the toolbox, and Vivian walked to the porch, the flannel jacket on her shoulders like a visible secret. Before entering, she turned back. Lily, down below, tilted her face to the sky and closed her eyes, letting the rain touch her skin without fear. Vivian wanted to memorize that, the simple courage of someone who allows themselves to get wet. She raised her hand, without thinking, in a goodbye that wanted to be something else. Lily responded with a small, intimate wave, a go that was also a return. In the hallway, the mirror reflected Vivian's image with Lily's jacket over her silk dress. Two versions of herself juxtaposed in the same frame. She touched the magnolia leaf in her pocket, took a deep breath, and moved forward, with the gentle certainty that when the city lights went out, there would be a garden waiting for her. "Tomorrow," she repeated softly, just to hear the word brush the roof of her mouth. After the event. And the big house, for a moment, seemed to listen. The next day was born with the subtle sound of tires on gravel. Vivian heard it from the library and, for a moment, thought her heart had learned the sound of an old pickup truck. She opened the slightly ajar window, as promised, and the cold morning air entered, smelling of damp earth and magnolia leaves. Lily was already on the lawn, gloves on her hands, her gray t-shirt sticking to her shoulder from the mist. The distance between the two seemed smaller than the day before, as if some invisible thread had pulled their bodies half a step forward. "You're early," said Vivian, descending the steps with a light scarf around her neck. "Roots like calm beginnings," Lily replied, pointing to the seedlings. "And so do I." They worked side by side in the flower bed, kneeling, sharing the same toolbox. The ground yielded softly under the spades. With each transplant, Lily lifted a clump of soil and Vivian held the leaves to prevent breakage. Sometimes, their fingers met without warning, and neither pulled away quickly. Lily faced the task with an attention that seemed like a prayer, Vivian, with a new carefulness, like someone learning the limits of touch and discovering that the limit is an invitation. The cold licked their ears, their breath came out like light smoke. "Hold this here," Lily requested, indicating the most fragile stem. Vivian held it with her fingertips, her wrist trembling almost imperceptibly. "Like this." "Like that is perfect," Lily said, and the word perfect landed between them like a leaf undecided on which way to fall. Mid-morning, the wind picked up. They decided to make soup in the kitchen. Lily chopped onions firmly, Vivian stirred the pot, the wooden spoon scraping the bottom with a comforting sound. The smell of melted butter, garlic, and thyme filled the house, mingling with Vivian's discreet perfume. Soft music escaped from the speaker, Ella Fitzgerald, filling the corners with an unhurried sweetness. "You cook like someone reading old letters," Lily teased, tasting with the spoon. "Slowly, to understand the handwriting." "And you chop like someone who knows exactly where the story's nerve is," Vivian replied, her eyes shining. "Beautiful to watch." They sat at the counter, each with a steaming mug in hand. Their elbows brushed unintentionally, no apology came. Vivian noticed a small streak of dirt near Lily's chin and, without thinking, reached out to wipe it away. She stopped halfway. Lily tilted her face, consenting with a clear look, and Vivian touched lightly, the tip of her finger removing the brown grain and leaving in its place a notorious warmth, the kind that goes unspoken. "Thank you," Lily murmured, her voice lower, almost a confidence. "You're welcome," said Vivian, but the welcome was everything. After a simple lunch, they went to the side road to get more bags of compost from the truck. The sky, once merely gray, suddenly darkened. A dry thud announced the problem. Lily looked at the rear tire and let out a low whistle. Flat. She smiled with an almost stubborn patience. "Want to learn how to change a tire?" Vivian laughed with disbelief and pleasure. I'm past 40. I suppose it's time. The rain began in a fine drizzle. The road smelled of mud and gasoline, the cold air touched their faces like glass. Lily took the jack from the compartment, gave clear instructions, and Vivian followed each one, her hands trembling from the cold and from something that was not the cold. When a bolt wouldn't budge, Lily came up behind her, covered Vivian's hands with her own, and taught her the right movement, her body serving as a guide. Their breathing fell into the same rhythm, and proximity became a language. Like this, Lily whispered, her words warming the shell of Vivian's ear. Don't force it all at once. Give it space and turn back. Let it yield on its own. I understand, Vivian replied, unsure if she was talking about the bolt. The wheel finally came loose with a pop, and they celebrated with a laugh muffled by the rain. Lily took off her jacket and placed it on Vivian's shoulders, now without the formality of a loan, a gesture that said, I see you shivering. Vivian held the edge of the fabric as if holding a hand. They stood like that for a moment, the rain scoring the world in oblique lines, the soaked courtyard reflecting the path's lanterns like crazy stars. Do you know what I envy about you? Vivian asked, surprising herself with the courage. Tell me. The ease of your body in the world. You occupy space without apologizing. I just learned not to apologize, Lily shrugged. But, for what it's worth, your body finds a space in this mansion I've never seen anyone else find. It's as if the rooms breathe when you enter. They returned to the garden with soaked hoods and cold hands. They decided, nonetheless, to walk in the rain to the lake. The sound of droplets on the leaves was music averse to any stage, the water hitting the surface made circles that touched like fingers. On the deck, the wood was slippery, smelling of salt and thyme. Lily stopped and turned. Vivian did the same. The distance between their mouths was an ancient question. Are you cold? Lily asked, without moving. A little. May I? And Lily raised her hands slowly, like someone approaching a skittish animal. Vivian nodded with an almost imperceptible tilt of her chin. Lily touched the scarf, adjusting it closer to her neck, but her fingers brushed against skin. Vivian closed her eyes for a fraction of a second, recognizing the gesture as permission. When she opened them, she found Lily looking at her not with hunger, but with a tenderness that made the world a possible place. I don't want to complicate you, Lily said, and her voice carried a care that hurt. I'm already a complicated puzzle, Vivian replied, a confession whispered between her teeth. But. The word hung open, seeking ground. The next step was so small it could have been the wind. Lily tilted her face a centimeter, Vivian did the same, a centimeter and a half. They stopped. Lily searched her eyes for the silent, yes, asked for safety and respect. Vivian offered it. The first kiss came like a brief piano note, a soft, delicate, almost timid touch. A meeting of mouths that questioned more than affirmed, that breathed more than took. The faint taste of mint was still there, the jasmine perfume, too. The world, for 2 seconds, was the exact size of two mouths meeting with the precise hesitation of those who understand the weight of the gesture. When they parted, they remained close, their foreheads almost touching. The rain, complicit, lowered its guard and turned to a fine drizzle. Lily bit her lower lip, surprised by her own courage. Vivian took half a step back, a hand on her chest, as if she needed to check for the existence of her own heart. There was no guilt in the air, there was a beautiful shock, the kind that takes all words away in the name of a newly born truth. Vivian began, and did not finish. I know, Lily replied, accepting that open ending as an agreement. They walked back without haste, their hands occasionally brushing, but nothing more than that. In the kitchen, the clock read 4:20, the ticking seemed louder, as if the house wanted to remind them of rules. Vivian served tea, Lily smoothed the tablecloth. The silence between them was not heavy, it was full of things. And yet, fear entered through the window along with the smell of rain. "He's coming back today," Vivian said, her eyes lost in the boiling water. "Your husband?" Vivian nodded. "He cancelled a trip. Said he wants to discuss renovations. The music room, perhaps." She looked at her own hands, still trembling. "I think I don't know what to do with this. With us." Lily leaned her arms on the counter, her fingers still dirty with soil under the nails. "We could do nothing for a while," she suggested gently. "Let the thing learn to breathe without being pulled." Vivian smiled a faint smile that seemed like a bandage. "You speak like someone who understands the heart of things. I only know how to wait for things to germinate. Sometimes, haste kills." The sound of a car came through the hallway like an announcement. Tires on the gravel. His presence, even invisible, altered the air's temperature. Vivian straightened her posture, dried her hands on a cloth, picked up the ring she had left on the saucer and turned it twice before putting it on. Lily understood everything. She did not retreat out of fear, she retreated out of care. "I'm going to finish covering the seedlings," she said, pointing to the back door. "It's better for them not to get cold tonight." "Lily." Vivian called her, a low plea. Lily stopped on the threshold, the smell of rain clinging to the flannel. "Thank you for today." "For?" She could not find the word. "I know," Lily repeated, with a half-smile. "Me too." The husband entered with steps that did not seek noise but made it out of habit. The smell of expensive cologne broke the spell of the time. He spoke of budgets, deadlines, a conductor he wanted to hire for a benefit concert. Vivian replied with trained efficiency, her body still vibrating from the memory of the lake. With each sentence, she touched the edge of her mug, as if needing an anchor. Outside, Lily covered the seedlings with frost cloth, the light fabric brushing the leaves like a gentle sleep. The sound of the clips fastening clicked softly, rhythmically, almost a song. When she finished, she looked toward the library window. The crack was open. The signal. A small yes amidst so many maybes. Vivian, trapped in the conversation, glanced discreetly in that direction and found Lily shaded by the late afternoon light. The two held each other's gaze, a thread of invisible strength crossing through the glass, and it was as if they had agreed on something greater than words. The husband asked for the chef to bring a menu for Saturday's dinner. Vivian nodded and felt, deep in her pocket, the magnolia leaf she had kept from the day before. She ran her finger along its edge, and the texture said, "Hold on." Later, when the hallway was empty, Vivian went down to the garden with a small flashlight, Lily's jacket still in the wardrobe like a fabric secret. She found her near the pergola, gathering tools. The hanging lantern swayed with a glassy sound. The wind was colder, but there had been worse days. "I cannot invite you inside," Vivian said, without preamble, the care of the entire world in her voice. "Not today." "You don't need to," Lily replied, and the "you don't need to" came with a warmth that both spared and tightened at the same time. "Shall we walk tomorrow morning? The lake is different when the sun rises." Vivian breathed a sigh of relief for the verb that gave a future. "Tomorrow," she confirmed, and smiled like someone returning a vow. The farewell was an almost touch. Their hands rose at the same time to pick up the same shears from the bench. They touched lightly, and withdrew as if they knew that waiting is also a form of care. The two stood there for a moment, listening to the garden arrange its own night. "Good night, Lily." "Good night, Vivian." Vivian returned to the house with restrained steps, but her chest was ablaze. On the stairs, she stopped before the mirror, the same face, a different light in her eyes. Outside, Lily closed the truck's tailgate and rested her forehead on the steering wheel for a second, letting euphoria and doubt fight like sisters. The rain started again, now a gentle curtain. The garden, once more, kept their secret in silence. In her room, Vivian turned off the light and listened to the house breathe. The kiss had been brief like a match strike, but it burned inside as if it had lit a fireplace. Between fear and desire, she chose the postponed promise. Tomorrow, before 6. Tomorrow, with sun. Tomorrow, with enough courage not to run from what had begun. And yet, before sleeping, she closed the window by 1 centimeter. Not to block the wind, to learn to measure it. The rain arrived before morning. Heavy, insistent, beating against the stained glass windows as if wanting to remind them of something they preferred to forget. Vivian woke to the sound of water and the absence of footsteps in the hallway. Her husband had left early on a business trip, leaving a cold note on the desk, "Back Saturday. Handle the commitments." No kiss, no name. Just commitments. Outside, the garden seemed to dissolve in the mist, and the scent of the magnolias hung heavy in the air, almost suffocating. Vivian descended the stairs slowly, her robe dragging on the carpet, until she spotted Lily under the porch, arranging the pots so the rain wouldn't break them. For a moment, she thought of not going, of maintaining the safe distance that fear demanded. But she went. "You're going to get soaked," said Vivian, stopping under the eaves. "Some things grow better when wet," replied Lily, without irony, lifting her face to the water. Vivian watched the water running through her hair, the shirt fabric clinging to her skin. Everything in that image seemed wrong and inevitable. The rain became the mirror of what Vivian felt, a force that cannot be contained, only allowed to fall. They worked in silence for a few minutes, their hands crossing at long intervals, their breaths mingling. When Lily reached out for a tool, Vivian held her by the wrist. "Wait," she said, not knowing what she meant beyond that. Lily's eyes searched hers, a silent invitation to truth. "Last night, I didn't sleep," Vivian confessed. "Neither did I," Lily replied, simply. The silence that followed did not ask for an answer, but for courage. Lily took half a step forward. Vivian retreated the same amount. "If someone saw us," she began. "No one is looking," Lily interrupted. Vivian smiled, sadly. "The world always looks when it shouldn't." The sound of an engine interrupted the conversation. The delivery truck stopped in front of the side entrance. The driver, a man with a hat and a bold smile, waved familiarly. "Good morning, Miss Lily." The flower order arrived earlier than expected. Vivian noticed the gleam in his eyes as he looked at the gardener. The discomfort was immediate and irrational, an almost childish jealousy. Lily thanked him, naturally. "You can leave it there, Bill." She turned to Vivian and explained, "I ordered lavender seeds. I thought the scent would help the mansion breathe." Vivian nodded, but her heart was beating out of rhythm. As the man walked away, she felt the world resuming its relentless logic, that of classes, names, and appearances. A part of her wanted to retreat into the house, another wanted to hold Lily by the waist and stay there until time stopped. When the driver left, Lily noticed her expression. "He's just the delivery man." "I know," Vivian replied, too quickly. "I just remembered what I cannot appear to be." Lily wiped her hands on her pants, her gaze now firm. "And what do you want to appear to be?" Vivian took her time. "Someone who still knows what she wants." The day continued heavily, the air full of unspoken words. In the afternoon, Vivian received a call from the estate manager. "The local press wants to do a story on the mansion's restoration," the woman explained, with artificial enthusiasm. "Photographers will come tomorrow. And it would be great to include the gardener, of course." Vivian felt her stomach churn. "No, that is not appropriate," she replied, curtly. "The project is not yet finished." "But it would be a good image," insisted the manager. "You with the young garden restorer, symbolizing the rebirth of the place." Vivian looked out the window and saw Lily, crouched under the pergola. Her hair tied back, her face smudged with dirt. Rebirth, she thought, and the word hurt. We'll see, she murmured, hanging up. Later, she told Lily what had happened. Lily smiled kindly. I can stay out of the photos, if you prefer. It's not about the photos, said Vivian. It's about what people would see in them. Lily understood. They would see what they want to see. Precisely. Vivian lowered her head. And I still don't know what I want them to see. The wind blew strongly, opening one of the greenhouse windows. They both ran to close it, but the force of the water was already invading the glass floor. Lily slipped, and Vivian held her by the shoulders. They were stuck for a moment, the noise of the rain outside, both their hearts inside their chests, out of sync. You scare me, Lily, whispered Vivian. Why? Because you make me want to be honest. And it's been so long since I have been. Lily brought her hand to Vivian's face, but did not touch, just left it suspended in the air. Honesty doesn't have to hurt, she said. In my world, it does. The thunder that came next seemed to approve the answer. The day ended with the garden flooded and Vivian's husband calling from a hotel in New York. I heard the weather there is awful, he said, bored. Don't let the girl ruin the magnolias, you hear? Vivian looked at Lily, seated at the kitchen table, stirring her tea with a distant gaze. No, dear. She is saving them. She hung up before he could ask what she meant. When the phone fell into its cradle, Vivian sat down facing Lily. The sound of the rain filled the silence. Have you never been afraid of being judged? Asked Vivian, without preamble. Lily thought before answering. I have been. But I discovered that being loved for who you are not hurts more. Vivian looked away. And if the love is the mistake, then let it be the most beautiful mistake I have ever made. The wall clock struck 9. The house lights flickered with the storm. Lily got up to collect the tools, but Vivian held her hand. Stay until the rain passes. And after? Asked Lily, with a half-smile that hid an abyss. Vivian did not answer. The hours stretched out in silence. They sat side by side in the living room, listening to the distant sound of water. The fireplace flame flickered, casting shadows on the walls, and with each flash their hands seemed closer. Vivian thought of everything she could lose, and of everything that no longer made sense to keep. The ring felt heavy. You will regret it, said Lily, with the calm voice of someone who does not judge. I already regret not having lived. Vivian looked up. The rest is detail. Lily leaned in slowly. The touch of their foreheads was longer than the first kiss. A silent vow, a shared breath. Then, a sound, footsteps in the hallway. Vivian jumped back, her heart racing. But it was just the wind pushing a poorly closed door. Even so, the fear had already settled in. I should go, Lily murmured. Vivian nodded, no confidence in her voice. Tomorrow, perhaps. Tomorrow. She repeated, and the sound of the word was half a promise. Lily picked up her jacket, hesitated on the threshold. You need to decide, Vivian. Her voice was firm, but pained. No one can live between the garden and the house forever. Vivian wanted to respond, but her throat tightened. She followed Lily with her eyes until she saw her disappear into the rain, a light silhouette lost among the magnolias. The wind brought their scent, sweet and suffocating. Back in the living room, Vivian saw her own reflection in the windowpane, a woman with her hair down, damp eyes, and the ring shining under the storm's flashes. The music from the radio, forgotten at low volume, played an old song about loves that could not have a name. She picked up the phone. Typed a short message, tomorrow, come early. Read it once, twice, 3 times. And deleted it. The window remained slightly open, like a question left to the wind. The following morning arrived without haste, as if the day had learned to breathe. The rain had given way to a washed sky, and the mansion awoke with the windows still damp, the clock reading 7:20, the same creaks in the wood, and yet, nothing was the same. Vivian rose before her habit, ran her hand over the cold sheets and faced the space beside her, remembering the nights when the silence was just absence. Now, it was a summons. The window was slightly open, and the air carried the scent of magnolias and a trace of wet earth that seemed to say Lily's own name. She descended the stairs slowly, feeling each step as a stage on a path she could no longer retreat from. In the kitchen, the white cup awaited, and she prepared the coffee with the attention of someone writing a letter. The phone rested nearby, silent, and for a second the temptation to send a short message returned, "Come." But no, today it needed to be said in another way, with body, with face, with a whole word. Vivian took the flannel jacket she still kept in the wardrobe, Lily's jacket, smelling of soap and sun, and put it on. The fabric settled on her shoulders like shelter and like a flag. Outside, the grass held small pearls of dew. Lily was already in the garden, kneeling by the lavender seedlings that now formed timid rows. Her hair was tied back, a few loose strands pointing in all directions, like stubborn branches reaching for the light. Vivian stopped 2 steps away, time enough for her breathing to align with Lily's. Lily lifted her face and, upon seeing the jacket, smiled with a gentle surprise, like someone recognizing a returned message. "You woke up early," said Lily, wiping her hands on a towel. "I needed to arrive before the fear," replied Vivian, and the new honesty tinted the morning with courage. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other, as if the entire world could fit in the distance of 2 steps. The conversation began with what they knew how to do together, work and care. They opened the greenhouse so the sun could kiss the glass and warm the leaves. Lily asked Vivian to hold a pot while she adjusted the base. Their hands brushed and, this time, neither body pulled away quickly. Skin recognized skin like someone finding home after a long journey. "Yesterday you deleted a message," Lily said, without accusation, a light smile at the corner of her mouth. "I did," confessed Vivian, running her thumb along the pot's edge, feeling the porous texture. "Because I thought I needed to say it while looking into your eyes." Lily waited, letting the silence make space. "I choose you," said Vivian, in a low but whole voice. "Regardless of the photos, the dinners, the windows they ask me to close. I choose what is born when you touch the earth and when you look at me. And if there is a fall, I will learn to fall." Lily breathed, a warm relief crossing her chest. "I didn't come to take you from a place," she replied, lightly touching the jacket on Vivian's shoulders. "I came to remind you that you still know how to walk. If that is the path, I will walk it with you. If it is not, I will tend the garden so you have a place to breathe." "It is the path," Vivian affirmed, and the verb in the present tense moved the day forward a little more. There was, however, a door that needed to be opened without noise. The husband would return on Saturday. The news was stated calmly, like naming the weather. They decided the truth would not be a spectacle, but a clean conversation. The mansion, with its portraits and moldings, would have to listen to another music. Vivian sat at the library desk later and wrote a letter in firm lines, an explanation without blame, a request for respect, an agreement about the sale of a part of the property he wanted to turn into events and that she now wanted to preserve. When she finished, she took a deep breath and sealed the envelope. Lily, outside, was organizing the tools like someone organizing a heart before the next season. The day continued in small tasks that, seen from afar, could only be love. They adjusted the pergola, aligned the lanterns, swept leaves from the stone staircase. Vivian forgot her haste, and Lily allowed herself to teach like someone who offers and does not impose. Between one gesture and another, a light humor was born. Vivian almost dropped a tray of seedlings, Lily caught it in time, and the two laughed at a mess that did not happen. The laughter echoed through the halls and traded the old ghosts for a new lightness. The manager called to inform her that the photographers would come in the afternoon. Vivian looked at Lily, and instead of the old impulse to hide, she had another, to put things in their right place. She received the team on the porch and, with firm kindness, explained that the photos would be of the garden, the restoration details, the greenhouse, the stone benches. No posed portraits, no invented symbolisms. The rebirth is in the leaves, she said, pointing the lens to the place where life actually happened. The photographer, defeated by her clarity, obeyed. In the final image, a close-up of a magnolia leaf with dewdrops seemed to summarize what could not be captioned. When the team left, the late afternoon light stretched across the lawn in a tranquil gold. Lily lit a few lanterns. Vivian brought 2 mugs of mint tea. They sat on the stone step where, days before, they had shared a sandwich. The wind brought a slight chill, and Lily adjusted the jacket on Vivian's shoulders once more, out of pure habit of caring. "I am afraid," admitted Vivian, looking at the lake. "Afraid of hurting, of breaking, of being talked about." "Me too," Lily said, interlacing her own fingers, without touching Vivian's. "But I am more afraid of us being stories told by half." In the silence that followed, music came, not from the radio, but from the world, the light tremor of leaves, the clinking of the glass lanterns, the step of a timid deer crossing in the distance. The mansion, once a stage for absences, now seemed like a house learning to listen. It was then that Vivian moved a little closer, her hand resting on the wood between them, like someone opening a path. Lily looked into her eyes, seeking the clear gesture, the yes drawn without noise. Vivian lifted her chin just a little, a request for a meeting that contained respect and desire in equal measure. The kiss that came was brief and full of world, a prolonged brush that said, "I am here, and I am staying," a calm heat that did not need to prove anything to anyone. The light touch of their lips lit another kind of light in both of them, and when they parted, they rested their foreheads together, sharing the same air like someone lighting a candle instead of fireworks. "Thank you," whispered Lily, "for no apparent reason and for all of them." "For existing here," replied Vivian, and that here included garden, body, and time. The consequence was not long in presenting itself, but it came like a gentle tide. That night, Vivian left a message for her husband: "We need to talk honestly when you return." Without unnecessary justifications, without names he was not yet ready to embrace. She also left instructions with the manager about events: fewer parties, more guided tours, more chamber music on Sunday afternoons. The mansion would finally have the life its structure deserved, and not the parade it had grown accustomed to sustaining. In the days that followed, they learned to live with a courage without fanfare. They planted a row of peonies together, and Lily told how, in her childhood, her grandmother hid notes under the garden stones for the children to find, messages for when the day is difficult. Vivian laughed with her eyes and, that afternoon, wrote "breathe" on a cotton ribbon, tying it discreetly to the pergola post. Passing by, Lily read it, and her warm smile kept the ribbon better than any knot. There were also setbacks. On certain mornings, doubt arrived too late to be ignored. Then they would walk to the lake, and Lily would let Vivian speak at the pace of the stones, slow, honest, full of subtext. "What if I don't know how to be different?" Vivian would ask. "What if I trip over my own story?" "It's okay," Lily would respond, looking at the water. "We learn to fall on the grass. And then we get up with grass on our knees." On Saturday, the husband returned. The meeting was restrained and civil, and yet definitive. They spoke in the music room, where the walls knew secrets of harmony. Vivian said what she needed to say, that it was not about another person, it was about who she had become over years of silence, that the mansion could not pay the price of a staged life, that she preferred to transform the marriage into respect rather than maintain it as a display. He listened, somewhere between detached and hurt, but without storm. The separation agreement began to be drafted then and there, months to reorganize, different houses, shared commitments. When he left with his small suitcase, there was no scene. Just an exchange of looks in which two lives admitted the end of one form so that another could begin. Vivian went out into the garden with the sensation of someone returning to her own skin. Lily was by the lavenders, her back turned, humming a fragment of an old song, a thread of voice that seemed to stitch the afternoon together. Hearing footsteps, she turned. The sun was slowly receding in her hair, in a simple glow that seemed like an answer. Vivian walked to the gardener and, without haste, touched her hand. There was no urgency, there was belonging. "I stayed," said Vivian, and the phrase carried more than the time since morning. "I knew you knew the way," Lily smiled, moving close enough for their shoulders to touch like pages finally finding each other. They worked until the sky accepted the first stars. Afterwards, they sat on the steps, their bodies close in a good quiet, the lanterns reflecting in the lake like suspended musical notes. Vivian rested her head on Lily's shoulder, and the gardener rested her cheek on Vivian's hair. The touch was light, and within it lived everything that did not need to be said. When the night advanced, they passed by the library. The window, slightly open, breathed the same air as days before. Now, however, it was not a question, it was a choice. The wall clock showed a time that, by chance or destiny, repeated the opening of their story. Vivian stopped before the glass and saw, reflected, the woman she had been and the one being born. In the corner, on the table, the magnolia leaf, now dry, preserved its shape like a small letter of freedom. Vivian smiled, and the smile did not ask for permission. In the bedroom, the bed was still large, but not empty. On the pillow, 2 lavender seedlings slept in improvised pots, waiting for the morning light. Vivian touched the fabric of the flannel jacket hanging on the chair and felt, once more, the smell of soap and sun. She turned off the light and, for a few seconds, let the entire house hear her breathing with the new calm of someone who has decided to live. They both learned that courage is not the absence of fear, it is walking with it until it tires. And that truth, even when it hurts, makes space for the kind of love that does not ask for disguise. If this story touched you, subscribe to Secret Garden Stories, leave your comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today.